Now, hello everyone. Now, I know y'all not used to seeing me in this type of position, but I had to do this type of video to get my point across, because I'm trying to understand two questions that I need you, the viewers, to help me understand. Now, give you a little background history. I was 20 years old when I went to prison. I spent many a nights over a woman's house. I was a so-called little player back then at that time. But I never, when I was spending nights with them, I never went to the bathroom with them. I never walked in the bathroom. We took showers together, but I never walked in when they was actually using the bathroom. So I didn't see what they was doing. But now that I'm home after 44 years, and I've been home 2.5 years, now I'm seeing stuff that I didn't see when I was in the street when I was 20 years old. So I got two questions. Here's my first question. I asked guys that work with me, it's 5 of them, and I asked all 5 of them during break time, let me ask you something, man. When your wife goes in to use the bathroom, or your girlfriend, or whoever it is, how does she wipe herself? And they all looked at me and started laughing. I said, no, I'm dead serious. How do women wipe themselves? Because I want to know and understand how they do this. So one guy, he said, all right. He said, well, my wife, she wiped herself from the front, from the back to the front. I said, from the back to the front? I said, well, okay, what about you? He said, well, my wife, she does it from the back up. I said, well, that's the way everybody did. That's the way I thought everybody did. But apparently I was wrong. And I said, well, listen, let me ask you this. If your girl is plus size, kind of big, how does she wipe herself? And they said, well, hold on, we got to call so-and-so over to answer that question, because his wife is big. So he came over. And I said, listen, if you don't mind asking the question, how do your wife wipe herself, clean herself? He said, why? I said, I want to know. I've never seen it before, so I want to know. And so tell me. He said, well, my wife's a big girl. All right. They said that. I never seen her. He said, so she wipes from the front, go to the back, and pull it to the front. I said, she pull it to the front? He said, yeah. I said, okay. I said, yeah, all right. And then another one said, I said, well, why don't she do it from behind? He said, because she's so big around here, and her arm is short, so she can't reach back there and do it that way like we do it, because she got too much. I said, okay, all right, makes sense. But here's what got me. When you mess around and you go from the front to the back and then pull it to the front, you mixing boo-boo with your cuckoo. That's what you're doing. You mixing it together. And I told him the same thing. I said, well, you do know, because I hear during conversation, you say that you sometimes, you dib and dab. So what you doing, you dibbing and dabbing with what they doing, with the boo-boo to the cuckoo. He looked at me. He said, man, I never thought of it that way. I said, you didn't smell it? I said, it gotta have a scent, because fish and boo-boo don't smell the same. So he said, well, I'll be. And the other guys was laughing at him. And I wasn't laughing because I'm dead serious. So I said, all right, how do your wife do it? I asked another guy. He said, well, my wife, she don't wipe herself. I said, what you mean she don't wipe herself? She got to do something. He said, no, she don't wipe herself. We got one of those, it's a toilet, and hot water comes up and shoot. He said, so it cleans her that way. I said, what do you mean? What what kind of a toilet is that? It's spraying a leak or something? It's got a flush? He said, no. It's meant that way. He gave me the name. It sounded like something from Taco Bell. It sounded like some kind of crazy, funny name. And maybe y'all can tell me what the name is. But I said, so it shoots water? He said, yeah, you got a control here. You can put it on warm, hot, and everything. I said, well, you mean they got toilets that do that? He said, yep. So, all right, so now, well, in that case, all right, how do she dry herself? He said, oh, it's got another control. It's like a hair blower, and it shoots out hot air. And I said, so she get a hot air type thing on her butt side to dry her, to make it dry? He said, yeah. I said, you ever used it? He said, one time I used it, and the kids had turned all the way up, and when I sat down, didn't watch what I was doing, and it burnt the hairs on his butt. So I said, it burnt the hairs on your butt? He said, yeah. He said, so I don't use it no more. I don't use that one. See, we got two commodes. We got one for my wife and one for me. I said, well, I'll be. I said, what else happened? I said, what about you? He said, we get in the shower. Me and my wife, every time we use the bathroom or something, she'll go and get in the shower. I said, so you're my boo-boo and then take a shower and then dry that way? He said, yep. I said, ain't that something? I said, ain't that something? So another dude, he came and he said, what y'all talking about? Y'all laughing? I said, because I asked a question, so I asked him a question. I said, how do your wife clean herself? He said, oh, they take a rag and she wipe herself. Now that's crazy. That's really crazy. I didn't know that. I did not know that. Now, I ain't got no shorts on. I don't want nobody to think I'm disrespecting you. And this is for educational purpose because I wanted to be educated. I wanted to know how other people in other houses live. And that's exactly why I'm doing this video. So I can get some feedback from you all. Somebody tell me the name of that toilet or that, I think he says like a washing machine, except she sit on top of it and that thing just get to washing and wiggling and and it spray hot water and it cleans her butt. And then she got another button and it blows it and hot air come out and dries it up. I ain't never heard no stuff. I ain't never seen nothing like that on movies. And I watched a lot of movies. So, I said, well, ain't that something? Now I'm learning something. So they was laughing and laughing. I wasn't laughing because my wife, she's smaller. She go from the front to the back and back to the front. I said, okay. So now, I said, all right. That's the way she do it. That's the way she do it. I do it this way. Me and half America, over half America, we go from the back and to the front. So, I said, all right. Is that the way they do it? Talk to me. Put some comments in the comments section. How do you all take and wipe yourself in the bathroom? Because this is crazy. Especially that one that's got that hot air, like a hair dryer, and it'd be blowing hot air after it done sprayed your butt down with some hot water. Especially that, I forgot the name of it, but it didn't sound right. It sounded like some type of French stuff. Them French people kind of freaky anyway, so I wouldn't put it past them. So let me know. And this little robe thing right here, my wife bought this for me 20 years ago when we was on a trailer visit. Darn thing, you got the shorts, but the shorts was a little bit too short, for me to do this commercial with. Not a commercial, but video. So help a brother out. Let me know how heavy-set women wipe themselves. Or even heavy-set men. All right? Thank you. I really want to know. All right then. I'm out of here.